Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be on how I wash my dog's bedding. So as you can see down here in the floor, I have got bedding. All of this right here is a little bed, a blanket, and another little bed. These are my bigger dog, Coco's bedding. And then my smaller dog, Chloe's bedding, is right here. So we've got her little bed and I put this on top of this little mat thing here. And then I bought her some receiving baby blankets when I first got her because she was so little. So she does still sleep with those. And then that is her blanket right there. So as you can see, my dogs have a lot of bedding. I do have them very spoiled as far as bedding goes. But you know, I mean, especially during the winter, I want them to be warm. We don't let our dogs sleep with us in the bed. So what I do is my older dog, Coco, which is the one right here, she sleeps in the living room, but in her blankets. So normally what she does is she gets this, bed right here, puts it in a certain spot, and then she takes her blanket, puts it over it, and then gets under it and sleeps. It's the craziest thing. She moves her bedding around. She does it the way she wants it, and that's how she does it. And then the little one right here, she sleeps in an actual dog cage. So here is the big dog cage. It is like huge. I mean, it's really big. So I can show you like the side of it. So yeah, it's an extremely huge dog cage. So she looks pretty funny in it, you know, because she's so small. But that's where she sleeps. Now during the day, you know, I leave the door open so she can go in there if she wants and goes to sleep, or you know, she can stay out, whatever, you know. So during the day, we do leave the cage open so she can go in and out as she pleases. But yeah, she does sleep in the cage at night, overnight. Mainly just because she likes to get into stuff sometimes. So I don't want to keep her out all night long. She's a prowler and everything. So that's mainly why we keep her in the cage when we go to bed. But this one here, she is extremely good. Doesn't do anything. I mean, she doesn't get into anything. She doesn't tear up anything. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, she just does so good. But yeah. Anyway, so this is what we're working with. So this is the bedding that I have to wash. And also too, before we get started in this video, if you guys like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. That really helps me out. And also too, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out as well. All right, so here's the bedding. So yeah, you guys have seen that. And then here is my washer. So I've got a Samsung washer. It's a pretty cool washer. I really like it. It's got all these neat little settings on it, and then like water temperatures and speed and soil and pre-soak and all that good stuff. So I really, really love this washer. I do know that this washer at one time was under a recall. I guess when you used the bedding section here, if you had it on like high spin or whatever, I guess what happened to some people's is it spun so hard that it like blew up, basically, just like came apart. So I don't ever use this setting. I never use the bedding, and I don't ever use high spin for anything. I always use low spin or medium spin. I never use the high speed at all. So yeah, I haven't had any issues with my washer, thank God. And that could be because I don't use the bedding setting and I don't use the high speed. I'm not sure on that. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this is the washer. And you guys, I do apologize. I do wash my husband's dirty, nasty, oily, work-filled clothes in this washer. So this thing is extremely dirty. So don't judge me on that, please. I do know I need to clean it. I do a self-clean every time I wash his clothes, before and after. But, you know, it's still dirty. Like, I really need to, like, get in there and, like, scrub it clean and stuff. So please don't judge me on this. Anyway, so this is the inside here. It's pretty deep, pretty big. And that's where you put the bleach. And then here is where you put the softener and the detergent. See how dirty it is right in there? Ugh. Yeah, I definitely need to clean that out. So please don't judge me on that. But yeah, and it's got like this little water jet thing going on here. So what you do, this is for like if you've got something really delicate and that you want to like maybe wash it out right away or something before you start your washer. Basically, what you do is you open it, and then I don't ever use this thing if you guys can't tell. Oh, you push up on it. So you push up, and then it basically drops this little gadget right here. So what you can do is you can wash like anything that's like delicate, or if you got something like a stain on something and you want to get it out immediately. That's basically what this little gadget's for. So you turn it on and it spits water out of here, gets water into here, and yeah, so forth. So that's pretty cool. I've used this probably once, maybe twice. So I don't use it very often. But it's nice to have it, you know, if I need it. And then you just close this back up. And then it clicks. And then there you go. So, yeah, I really like this washer. It's a really good washer. So I'm very impressed with it. Anyways, so we're going to go into the things that I use to wash my dog's bedding. So I use pretty much any Tide laundry detergent. It doesn't have to be a specific one. Right now I'm using the Tide Plus Febreze freshness, but I've used Tide with Downy in it. I mean, I've used all different kinds of Tides. So as long as it's Tide, I don't really care what kind it is. But I only use Tide. And I get the HE Turbo Clean. That's the best kind. For the kind of washer I have, they recommend any detergent that has HE on it. So as long as it has HE on it, you know, I'm good. I have used detergent that doesn't have the HE on it, so don't get me wrong. I have used other detergents, but they recommend this for the best cleaning. So anyway, this is the Tide I'm using right now. And what I do is, you know, you've got, in your little cup here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I always fill it up to the 2. So I never fill it up more than that. I always fill it up to the 2. And then we've got Downy fabric softener. I always use fabric softener for everything I wash. Towels, my husband's work clothes, mine and my daughter's work clothes, and then the dog's bedding and all that. So I use sheets, blankets, you know, I use fabric softener for everything. And on this, you know, they've got inside the cup, they've got a high, a kind of medium, and a low mark. I always do it on the low mark. Never the medium and never the high, just a low. There's not really a reason I do that. I just, to save, you know, for me to not have to buy so much of it, I just use, you know, not a whole bunch. So, I mean, you can use as much fabric softener as you want. I mean, you could fill it all the way up to the top, and I'm sure it wouldn't hurt anything. Same thing with the laundry detergent. I mean, you could fill it up all the way to the top, and it most likely wouldn't hurt anything. But this is just how I do it, just because I don't want to be buying laundry soap, you know, 2-3 times a month. So I use less as possible, but I definitely want my stuff to get clean, if that makes sense. And then the next thing I use is these Downy Fresh Protect odor defense in wash, like scent booster type things. There's another brand that I've used. I forgot what the name of it was, but pretty much any of the like scent booster things I'll use. But this is my favorite one. This is an odor defense one. This one works really good on my husband's work clothes, like really good. And then it also works good on everything else that I use. So that's my favorite one. So I do highly recommend this. If you guys wash, you know, like oily work clothes or dog bedding, you know, stuff like that. Stuff that gets just really dirty and smelly and all that. I highly, highly recommend this. I really think you'll like it. And that's what and I don't fill it all the way up to the top. Now, you can fill it all the way up to the top. The more you put in, the better, I guess, the freshness this is supposed to be. But I just fill the bottom of it up like that. And that's all I do for the dog's bedding. Now, I will fill it up more for clothes, you know, especially my husband's work clothes and my work clothes and stuff like that. But just for the dog bedding, I just fill up enough to cover the bottom, basically. So that's all I do there. But I do highly recommend that for sure. It works really good. And if you've never used those, all I do, they say you're supposed to pour them in here before you put clothes in. But I'm sure you can do it either way. I always put the clothes in first, and then I put my stuff in after. Either way, I'm sure you can do it. You know, you could do it either way. But that's just how I do it. So I put all my clothes and stuff in there, and then I pour the, like, scent boosters and stuff in there. So, whew, all right. So that was a lot of talking. So I guess what we're going to do now is we're going to get started and put all of these bedding stuff in the washer. Okay, so the way I do it is this is, you know, like flat, basically. So the way I do this is I put this in first. So I lay that down like that on the bottom. And then I go in with the actual dog beds. So we've got this one here. And I put that in like so. I always flip them upside down too. And then I'll put this one, and again, I do flip it upside down. I always flip everything upside down. I don't know why I do that, I just do. And then we've got this other bed right here, and I put that again upside down. So that's that's that flat mat, and then all the actual dog bedding we got going there. And then the next things I put in are the receiving blankets here. I could probably stop using these now since she's not little, but I don't know. I'm just so used to using them that I just put them in here, you know, when I make her bed and stuff. But, you know, this is optional, of course. You don't have to run out there and buy receiving blankets for your dogs or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But she was so little when we got her, you know, when we kept her in the cage, and I didn't want her to be cold at all. So I was doing as much as possible to keep her warm. And I think I'd bought these before I actually bought her big blanket too. So when we first got her, she didn't have that huge blanket. But now she's definitely warm. Okay, and then I go in with the actual blankets. And this one is hers. This is Chloe's, the little one. So I put hers in first, and then just kind of pack it, you know, towards the side over here. And then I've got Coco's, which is my bigger dog. And I put hers just, you know, kind of on the other side. So, you know, there you go. So it's all packed in there now. I always press down a little bit just to make sure everything is in there and kind of leveled out so my washer doesn't like freak out. But yeah, that's basically how I put the dog bedding in, the way I do it, and all that good stuff. And then we'll go in with the actual stuff. So the first thing I do is the laundry soap. And then we're going to open this. And obviously we're going to put it inside where it says detergent. So I just pour it in there. Like so. And sometimes I go a little extra, and I'll do that, and then I'll pour just like a tiny bit more, not a whole lot, but just a tiny bit more. And then what I'll do is I'll actually put it in the washer like so. This is completely extra. You don't have to do this, of course. This is just what I do. So basically, yeah, I just do that. Then I put the cap back on. And then I go in with the fabric softener. And obviously, you're going to put it in the side that says softener. And then you just pour that in there. Like so. And I don't put any extra fabric softener or anything like that. So that's all the fabric softener I do. And then here are the little ball things. So I close that up. And then I pour in the little ball things. And I kind of just spread them all around and pack them in the middle and all that. So that's basically what I do. That's how I put in the dog's bedding, and that's how I put in my soap and those scent booster things. So that's basically, you know, how I do it. Of course, everybody does things their own way, but that's how I do it. And then I just close this up. Then, of course, I turn it on. And then I always go to Perm Press. Most stuff that I wash is Perm Press. I wash my husband's work clothes on Heavy Duty. And then I wash everything else on Perm Press. So really I only use two of the things on here. So I use the Heavy Duty and then the Perm Press. And then I use the extra rinse too. So I use three deals on there. So anyway, so it's on. So what I do is I go to the temp first. And I always wash my dog's bedding on hot water, always. So I do hot. And then for spin, I'm going to go down to the low. Because obviously I don't want it to go any faster than that. You can do it on medium, but I always just do it on low. And then the soil level, I just do on heavy. I'm not quite sure what soil level means. So if you guys know exactly what soil level means, feel free to leave that in the comments below and let me know what that means, because I'm not exactly sure what that means. I always put it on high, or heavy, sorry. I always put it on heavy. And then I push the pre-soak. And so this is going to wash for about an hour and 8 minutes. So I pretty much pre-soak everything as well. Like my husband's work clothes, I definitely do pre-soak. The dog's bedding, I do pre-soak. And like our actual bedding, I do pre-soak. I don't pre-soak regular clothes or towels or anything like that. But I do our bedding, the dog's bedding, and my husband's work clothes. And I always do it on pre-soak. So it does take more water doing that, and it does take longer. But that's just how I do it. And then you press start. So that's basically what I do as far as washing my dog's bedding. And yeah. I'm going to show you guys what I do next after it's washing. So when it comes to that, I will be right back with you guys. All right, you guys. Well, I'll be back. Okay, now we are finally done with the washing. Yay! So it's all washed now. So that part is done. Now what I do, and I usually do this on everything I wash, I always do an extra rinse. There's been times where I've only, done the one rinse, and then I would get them out of the washer and they'd still feel like they had soap in it. So I basically just go to cold. Well, first, hold on. First I turn the knob to rinse and spin. And then I take it off high and put it on low. And so it's going to just do a rinse for 21 minutes. So again, rinse plus spin. And then I put it on low. And then I hit start. So now it's just going to do an extra rinse. And then once this is done, I will be putting them in the dryer and I will show you how I do that. All right, you guys. Well, now it's finally done. So I washed and then I did the extra rinse. So now it is all done now. So now I can start putting things in the dryer. And the way I do this is, obviously I take the old Bounces dryer sheets out of the dryer. And I use, the only dryer sheets I use is Bounce. So, I mean, you can use any kind of dryer sheet, of course. But the only ones I use is Bounce. So, I'm going to put one of those in there. And then the way I do this is I do the big blankets last. So I do everything else first. So like this type of bedding and the little receiving blankets. There we go. That's the name. I was trying to think of what I was trying to say. But yeah, so I take everything out except the huge blankets. Throw it all in the washer or the dryer. Sorry. And my dog, Coco, she's like always right here. It's so funny. Like she knows that it's her bedding and she knows that I'm putting it in the dryer, and then she knows when it's done, because as soon as it's done drying, she comes to the door and starts whining like, hey, my stuff's done. I want my stuff. So it's quite funny how she does that. All right, so all we have left now in the washer are just these big blankets. So I do those two by themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and shut that. And as you can see, I've got everything else in the dryer. I've already put a dryer sheet and everything in there. So now all I do is I close the dryer. And of course, I'm gonna clean this, but you guys don't necessarily need to see that. So I'm going to clean this, and then I'm going to start it. And what I do is that I put it on the automatic dry low heat. And I start it at the beginning, of course, and then it goes all the way to the end. But that's how I dry. I don't normally do any other setting except the high heat when I'm doing towels. So if I'm doing towels or like my big comforters, I'll do the high heat. But if I'm doing anything else, I always use the automatic dry low heat. Just because I'm so afraid things are going to shrink and all that. So that's just, you know, how I do it. Alright, you guys, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, you know, everybody has their own way of doing things. But this is my way, and this is how I wash my dog's bedding. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave comments below. And yeah, so that's about all I have for this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. And also, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out as well. And yeah, like I said, if you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And alright, you guys, well, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.